champions, I welcome you all to score 360 out of 360 in NEET Bio within 250 day series, and today we are going to talk about the last topic of principles of inheritance and variation, that is mutation and pedigree chart. So before that, we have already completed chromosomal and Mendelian disorders. Now if you want to have a watch of that, you can go watch the Saturday's video. Yeah, I did a very small mistake there. I want to correct it in this particular video, so I'll be definitely correcting it over here. And one more thing, you can join our WhatsApp channel if you want any sort of notes. Yeah, now the number of questions were 6 into 4 is basically the number of marks that you get for each correct answer. So 6 into 4, 24 marks basically you get for this chapter, so it's not something that you can miss for sure. And one more question, how was the mock test? So yesterday it was your mock test. I hope that you saw newer questions, try to do it by yourself, and if you were not able to attempt them, you saw my video as well, and I hope that it was helpful to you. Yeah, if you have not practiced the mock test, children, please download the paper and practice by yourself. It's very important. It consists of all the previous year questions. Yeah. Now, what did we cover in the previous session? We spoke about Mendelian disorders and chromosomal, and this is the thing that I want to change over here. Cystic fibrosis that you see, it's not autosomal dominant, it comes over here. Cystic fibrosis is basically a recessive disease, whereas when you talk about muscular dystrophy, it comes over here. Okay, please forgive me. Please interchange these things. This is not given in your NCERT. In your NCERT, myotonic dystrophy is given, but these are not given. So please just interchange. Okay, cystic fibrosis for recessive, and what do you have? Muscular dystrophy for dominant. Okay. Now going ahead with mutation. What do you mean by mutation? So mutations, no, I can sum them into 3 categories. One is chromosomal mutation, other is genomatic mutation, and another one is gene mutation. Basically, chromosomal mutation means rearrangement of the parts of the chromosome. For example, I have a pair of chromosome over here. Fine. And now, because of certain mutations, what is happening? This particular part of my chromosome is going to shift to other pair of chromosomes. So now this particular part which is over here has come and attached over this area. Okay, this is known as, okay, translocation. Translocation, where a part of chromosome is being shifted to somewhere else. Translocate, you are locating it somewhere else. This is example of chromosomal mutation, okay, which also happens in our body. All type of mutations happens in our body. Sometimes our body is able to sense this. We have a good DNA damage repair mechanism, okay. They sense it and they clear this up. Okay, they probably discard the chromosome. There are a lot of things that happens, but sometimes our body would not be able to find this out, and that's when we have certain type of diseases. Okay, now that is chromosomal mutation. Next is genomatic mutation. The terms are not given in NCERT. Okay, so please do not be worried about that, but you have to understand the concept. That is much more important. So here there will be change in the number of chromosomes when you are messing up with the number of chromosomes. So you know that in our body we have 23 pairs of chromosome. We have what, children? We have 23 pairs of chromosome. Now, one very important thing about this is, suppose this is a pair, and this is the 21st pair. Now, what happened was, instead of, so when the gametes are formed, one chromosome comes from mother's end and the other chromosome comes from father's end. Only one comes from each of their side. Okay, suppose this is the 21st chromosome of the mother and this is 21st chromosome pair of the father. So from this pair only one should come down each side, right? But what is happening? Probably there are chances where both of them have come down, and here also anyways you need to put down one in the gametes. So from here also you got one. So now you tell me, is it just a pair now? No. It had formed a trisomy. The number of chromosomes have increased, and this causes a disease. When the 21st pair of chromosome gets one more extra chromosome, this is known as trisomy of 21st chromosome. Trisomy of 21st chromosome. Okay, and this disease is known as Down syndrome. where you have an extra chromosome. Similarly, there could be cases where from one parent you should be getting one chromosome and from other parent you should be getting another chromosome, right? But this particular parent is not giving any chromosome in the gametes. So probably, for example, this is again an example. So you know Turner syndrome. Are you aware of Turner syndrome? Okay. So in the case of Turner syndrome, what happens is that, for example, this is the father and this is the mother. Okay. Now over here, probably someone got X and the other person didn't give anything in the gamete. So this is a sperm with X, whereas this person didn't pass down anything in the gamete. So there is nothing. Now when this gamete and gamete fuses, you get X and nothing. So I am writing O. So one chromosome is lost. So if we have 23 pair of chromosome, in total we have how many chromosomes, children? 23 pairs. So 23 into 2, 46 number of chromosomes we usually have. Here the case is different where one more extra chromosome is there. So this is 47 chromosome is there. But over here the things are twisted. It should be 46, but one chromosome has not been coming down from the one parent's end, which is why it is now 45. And this is known as Turner syndrome. This is known as Turner syndrome, and this condition, as I said, this is trisomy where you have 3 number of chromosomes, whereas when you have just one, you call it monosomy. What do you call it, children? You call it monosomy. I hope you are very much clear with this thing. This is a very important thing. So over here you see that these type of mutations are occurring because changes in the number of chromosome. So this particular person who has to be a female, who is a female because there is an X character over here, okay, this particular person who is a female has masculine characters as well. Okay, because as I said, you need 2x to be a complete full woman. So over here what happens, this person who will be a female, but she would be having certain conditions, she would be sterile, okay, she would be having masculine features and stuff like that. So that is Turner syndrome. This is monosomy, this is the example of trisomy. This is because of the change in the number of chromosomes. This is what you mean by genomatic mutation. So over here you were dealing with the different parts of chromosome. It is getting relocated. This is known as translocation. So obviously this part might be coding for some protein that is not being coded as of now, and it is going attaching somewhere else. That is a problem, right? Because you don't need that. Okay, when you change something from other place, from this to this, lots and lots of things happen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for example, someone thinks that 4 and 5 has to come before 2 and 3. Then will it work like that? No, it does not work like that. There is a mechanism of working everywhere, right? Similarly, in our body also we have a proper mechanism. Now comes the next thing, gene mutation, which is the one that is given in your textbook. So changes in the segment of DNA, as in there is mutations happening all around. So basically, if this is a DNA, no children, your DNA has so many nitrogenous bases. For example, I am writing GAG, AUG and stuff like that. And these things which occur in the number of 3, okay, you call it a codon. You call it what, children? A codon. And a codon is a one thing that will be coding for an amino acid. Similarly, this will also code for another amino acid, and these amino acids, they come together to form what, children? A protein. So now just think that you are messing up with something over here. For example, A has got deleted. Just imagine that A has got deleted. G has got deleted, huh? Okay. A got deleted. Now you have GGA. Now this won't be a codon. Instead, these 3 things will be a codon. Now GGGA will be coding for some other amino acid. But we wanted this protein. But now this protein is not being made. Or it can be a case where A is still there, but along with A you have something else. You have one more addition is happening now. Initially there was deletion. Okay, and now you have what? Addition. Similar thing happens. Now GUA will be a codon, GAU will be another codon. So again the shift has happened. The frame has been shifted. Initially you had a proper frame, and that frame has been shifted because of a single mutation that has happened over here. So it is GAG initially, right? Now, since the frame is shifted because of deletion and addition, you call this type of mutations as what, children? You call them, where shall I write? Okay, I'll write it here only. It is known as frame shift mutations. Okay, what do you call them? Frame shift mutation. This happens because of deletion or addition of some bases over there. Okay, and these are base pairs. What do you call them? Base pairs. And they all code for, when they come in 3, they code for an amino acid, and this amino acid code for protein. Now, there can be cases where instead of addition or deletion, just that this A is replaced by something else. U. It is replaced by something else. Now what will happen again? This is a different codon. It will code for something else, right? And this happens also where GAG was there. It is replaced by GUG, and now you get a disease which is known as sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia. Why does this happen? Basically what is happening, GAG was coding for glutamic acid, which is an amino acid. Okay, GUG will be coding for valine, which is another amino acid. You needed glutamic acid for the formation of a protein, which is the beta hemoglobin chain of the total hemoglobin molecule. So your hemoglobin molecule is made up of alpha hemoglobin and beta hemoglobin chain. So basically, globin, not hemoglobin, beta globin chain and alpha globin chain. So basically what happens, the one that protein is required for formation of beta globin chain is made by the codes. Okay, but over here GAG was there initially, it was replaced by GUG. One base pair got changed. One base, it got changed. So you call it single base mutation. What do you call it? Single base mutation. This is very much important. Okay, single base mutation has happened, which is why now you are getting a disease that is known as sickle cell anemia, because here beta globin chain is still being found, but the quality is deformed. It's not the actual variety of globin chain that we wanted, which is why the structure of the RBC, which has to be like this, becomes like a sickle. This was thing we studied in sickle cell anemia when we spoke about the disorders. Okay, so I want you to remember this. So gene mutation is something that is given very elaborately in your NCERT, so you need to remember that. Please remember, when something gets deleted or when something gets added on, your frame is getting shifted, and now different amino acids and different proteins will be made, which is why it is known as frame shift mutation. On the other hand, when you have all the amino acids, all the bases over there, but one is getting replaced, in the place of that something else is coming, obviously different amino acid will be formed, and this is known as single base mutation. Okay, what do you call it? Single base mutation. Now over here, let's read the NCERT once and then we'll go ahead. So mutation is what, children? It's a phenomenon which results in the alteration of DNA sequence and consequently results in the changes in the genotype and the phenotype of an organism. Obviously phenotype is a physical appearance and genotype is basically what's there inside our body. So if your DNA is getting messed up, obviously your genotype is getting messed up. Your DNA means what? These alleles. Okay, it will be having different alleles, right? Now if this is getting messed up, obviously the genotype is getting messed up, the genetic thing is getting messed up, and if this is getting messed up, then obviously the proteins won't be made, and these proteins are the ones that makes up the whole character of us, yeah, gives us a physical character, so that is also messed up. So mutations basically brings about changes in the DNA which is there. There will be alterations in the DNA which would be changing our genotype as well as phenotype. Got it? So in addition to recombination, mutation is another phenomenon that leads to variation in DNA. So you know recombination is there, something like recombination is there when there is a pair of homologous chromosome, the one that have different type of alleles of the same kind. Okay, so in that case, a part of this is transferred to this. It's not like it goes to different chromosome. It's not like this part is going to different chromosome. That is a problem. Okay, I'm talking about normal recombination which happens generally. So over this part came over this side and this came over this side. This happens. It's a normal thing. That is known as recombination. But mutation and recombination, both of them are responsible for variation. That is what it's saying, because obviously in mutation also the DNA is getting changed. It is getting altered. Now this mutation can be good. This mutation can be bad as well. When it's bad, we know we have so many disorders being caused. Okay. Now, as you will learn in chapter number 5, one DNA helix runs continuously from one end to the other end of each chromatid in a highly supercoiled form. So it is saying that this is the chromosome. So basically in this chromosome, the DNA is running like this from this end and it is going to the another end. Okay. Therefore, loss or gain, okay, deletion or gain as an insertion or duplication of a segment of DNA result in alteration in the chromosome. Since such genes are known to be located on the chromosome. Alteration in chromosomes result in abnormalities or aberrations. The one we already studied. Now, chromosomal aberrations are commonly observed in cancer cells. In addition to the above, mutation also arise due to change in single base pair of DNA. This is known as point mutation because only at a point, at a single point, this mutation is happening, which is why it is also known as point mutation. Okay. A classic example of such mutation is sickle cell anemia. Deletion and insertion of base pairs of DNA causes frame shift mutations. The mechanism of mutation is beyond the scope of this discussion at this level. However, there are many chemical and physical. Okay. Now, the one that causes mutations, what do you call them? Mutagens. Okay, the one that causes mutations is known as mutagens. Examples are UV radiations and things like that. So, which is why we say that ozone protects us from UV radiation, which can cause skin cancer. Why? Because this when this UV rays falls on us, probably there could be changes in our DNA structure such that it brings about mutation, and this mutation will be harmful for us. That is, it forms cancer. And now you guys are students, you guys use a lot of mobile phone, but we definitely recommend do not use too much of mobile phone, and please keep it at distance while you are sleeping. Why? Because continuously so many radiations are coming out of this mobile phone, which again its effects are not that really good, when especially when you will be living for so many years with the same thing in your hand, right? So obviously you can expect what all type of radiations are. They are all electronic devices, so we cannot expect them to be really good for us, for our health. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Mutations is what, children? It is alteration of DNA sequences. We have two type of mutations generally over here. Okay, gene mutation I am talking about. One is frame shift, another is point mutation. Frame shift as in when you are deleting or adding something, when there is a deletion or a gain of something, at this point of time the frame is getting shifted, which is why different proteins would be formed. Okay, now on the other hand, when one particular base pair is being altered, okay, it's being changed by something else. Okay, so this is known as point mutation. It will be known as point mutation. Example is your sickle cell anemia. It's a very important example. Cool. Going ahead, what do we have? Yes, we studied this chromosomal, genomatic and gene mutation. Please just understand the basics of this. Even if you do not remember these terms, it's fine. Okay. Now going ahead, we have pedigree analysis. So pedigree analysis, let's see. Over here, okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Whenever there is a square, just understand that it's a male. Okay, it's a male. Now, whenever there is a circle, just understand it's a female. Whenever there is a structure like this, understand that the sex is not specified, as in they have not mentioned whether it's a male or a female. Okay. Now, when each of them they are colored, you say that it is what? Diseased. Okay, they have some disease, just as you see over here. Now, this and this, when there is a line, there is a single line, that means these particular people have mated. Okay, they have underwent mating. So this will be a female with round, right? Over here, the one with a square or rectangle, probably square, okay, it will be a male. Now, when you have two lines in between them, what do you mean by that? Basically, when two lines are there, that means they are relatives as well. Okay, matings is happening between the relatives. Okay, could be different, long, they might have a long distance relationship over there. I am not meaning about the distance. I am meaning that probably they might not be closely related, but yes, they are related. Okay, now over here, so mating between relatives. Now this is when the parents basically are giving rise to the babies. Okay, so the girl child is over here. This is the first child, this is a second child. So whatever comes, for example, this is first, that means the son is the first child. Then if this comes, that means daughter is a second child. Please go from left to right. Now, when over here you can see that a girl and a boy, they are mating, and now they have a kid who will be diseased, children. This particular condition is where the kid is diseased over here. Now, this means what? There will be 5 offsprings who are unaffected. What is this? I can show you. It's written like this. 5 offsprings are produced, and all of them, they are unaffected. If they were affected, obviously they would have been colored. Okay, done? Can we have a quick recap? What is this, children? This is a female. Square, this is a male. Okay, you can remember round-faced female and square-faced male. Okay, and now what happened? This is when the sex is unspecified. This is when male and female, they have underwent mating. This is when, okay, there are only two. Just a second. This is when the this is happening between, mating is happening between relatives. Okay, mating is happening between relatives. Now, okay, just a second. Over here, male, female gave rise to one male. What do you mean by that? Basically here the offspring is deceased. Offspring is deceased. Okay, that is the meaning. Whenever these things are colored, that means it is diseased. Now there is one more thing given in your book, that is this, where a 5 is written. That means there are 5 offsprings being produced, but all of them, they are not affected. Not affected. They are not diseased. That is what you mean by that. Now basics, if you know, you will be able to understand pedigree analysis. Now let's read. Okay, the pedigree analysis, look for it. Okay, you have to find out what type of, I have written over there. So it is autosomal dominant. How can you understand whether it's autosomal dominant or not? So over here, the mother is diseased. Okay, the mother has to be diseased, and the disease has been passed down to next generations as well. If I assume that it is autosomal dominant, okay, that is, it is present on the autosomes and it is a dominant trait. So basically, if I assume mother's one chromosome has capital A and the other chromosome has small a, okay, father's chromosome has small a, this one also has small a. Assume like that. In that case, when I fuse them, this and this comes together, it's capital A, small a. This and this comes together, it's capital A, small a. This and this comes together, it's small a, small a. This and this comes together again, small a, small a. I found that, okay, just like mother, there are 2 offsprings as well, and both of them will be what? Diseased. Both them will be diseased, and both the diseased person, basically they will be passing down to the next one, because as I can see over here, since it is dominant, since children is dominant, you just need one copy, and this one copy, if for example the mating has been done between a person who is there and another person, and the disease has also been passed on to the next generation, that means it is a dominant trait. It is a pakka dominant trait that is being shown over here. Similarly over here, this particular didn't mate, but if they would have mated, probably one among them, okay, one offspring among them would again have been diseased. Okay, now if you assume the second condition where the chromosomes are like this, you have assume that this is A and this is again A, okay, and this is A and this is small a. In that case, whatever you do, you will get the combination as AA. In that case, all of them should be diseased, but that is not the case over here. Not all of them are diseased, only 2 of them are diseased. Okay, I hope you are able to understand this. Okay, and since the disease is also getting passed on, you understand that this is autosomal dominant disease. What do you mean by autosomes? The one that is responsible for our characters, physical characters. So we have sex chromosomes, you call them allosomes, and the other 22 pair of chromosomes, you call them autosomes. So when there are changes in the autosomes, these are known as autosomal diseases. Now, when the autosome is carrying a dominant allele, the mutated allele, then obviously this dominant allele will be showing its character even if a recessive allele is there. It will overshadow the effect and that person will be having the disease. The example that is given in your NCERT textbook is of myotonic dystrophy children, so please take a note of it. Myotonic dystrophy is an example of autosomal dominant disease. Cool? Going ahead, what do we have? We have autosomal recessive disease. The example is sickle cell anemia. So over here, you see both the parents are not showing the disease, but the other generation have the disease, right? So in this particular case, probably the mother, if it is autosomal recessive, the mother could be this, okay? Why she cannot be AA? In that case, since it is a recessive disease, okay, I'll tell you what will happen, okay? If your mother or father were like this, just a second. Okay, if the mother, okay, first let's take this scenario, then we will go ahead with the next scenario. Suppose this is the case. In this case, if I fuse this with this, I get capital A, small a. If I fuse this with this, I get capital A, small a. If I fuse this with this, I get small a, small a. If I fuse this with this, I get small a, small a. So that means there are two recessive things. So this is affected. They are diseased, but they are what, children? They are normal. Similar thing that you can find it over here as well. Okay. Now again you see the children basically over here they're not showing the character, but in the next generation it's being shown. Over here you saw the person that who had this thing was passing down to the next generation, so it had to be dominant one. But over here the people who did not show the disease still have a person who is having the disease. That means this is a recessive character, and recessive character comes to play only when you get two recessive alleles together, or else it does not come to play. Okay, did you understand me? Was this the case over here? Do you think that this is the case over here? No, children, this cannot be the case over here, because over here it is mentioned that this guy and this guy, both of them, they are not affected. They are not affected. In that case, it cannot be, this criteria cannot be possible. Okay, so probably the case might have been different, where father and mother, both of them would have been like this, which is why they were not showing the disease, because there is someone to dominate over this, which is why there was no showing of diseases. So both of them were capital A, small a and capital A, small a. But when the fusion has taken place over here, it was capital A, this becomes capital A, small a, this becomes capital A, small a, and this becomes small a, small a. Now over here, yeah, did I do it correctly? Right? So over here you saw one of them is getting affected. Whenever this and this comes, one is getting affected. Rest of them, all of them, they are normal. But now if they get another partner just like them, if they get another partner just like them, then again the same thing happens, one will be affected. Same thing happened over here. They are not affected, but they got one child or probably two child who are affected. Probably every time this gamete and this gamete might have fused. Okay. Now, there are other children who are not affected, as you can see over here. They are not diseased, but they might be the carriers. They are still the carriers. So these carriers, when they fuse, what do you get? You get another child who has the disease. So in this generation it's not there, but in the next generation it's there. That means this is a recessive trait. Okay, so that's a perfect way of understanding things. So this is autosomal recessive disease. The example is sickle cell anemia, whereas this is autosomal dominant disease, where if you're getting the disease, you will pass it down anyways to some of its offspring, not all, but to at least some of the offsprings. Okay. Now, there are certain previous year questions that we need to solve. First question: the most striking example of point mutation is found in a disease known as Down syndrome, sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, night blindness. Now, I told you what do you mean by point mutation. Basically, when there is there is a mutation in just one base, one nitrogenous base, you call it point mutation, and this happens in the case of sickle cell anemia. This happens in the case of sickle cell anemia. So over here, what do we have as the answer? This is the answer. Now in the following human pedigree, the filled symbols represent the affected individuals. Identify the type of given pedigree. So over here, let's see. So both of them, okay, they are meeting, and now you get 3 children. Out of them basically 2 are affected. But then you saw that in this pair, okay, even though they were not diseased, still the effect is being shown. Even though they were not diseased, still the effect is shown, children. That means it has to be autosomal recessive disease, because the recessive condition only brings out the disease. When there is someone dominant over there, okay, when there is someone dominant over there, this particular disease might not have been shown. Okay, so basically, as I said over here, when the parents are not showing and over here it's being shown, that means they are the carriers, and the carriers do not express themselves because there is a dominant allele over there. But when they give this particular condition, that is small a, at this particular point of time, it's recessive, and now they will be showing the condition. So just try to figure it out. If you get, now if it was sex linked, then probably one sex would have always been had that. That's also not the case. Okay, so here girl is having, here boy is having, here again boy is having, so it is not sex linked. You cannot think like that. Okay, now that is one thing. Please understand, it's autosomal recessive disease. Now going ahead, which one of the following symbols and its representation used in human pedigree analysis is correct? What is correct, children? So over here, this says mating between relatives. Yes, this is correct. Round is unaffected male. No, children, it is unaffected female. Round is female. Okay, square is unaffected female. No, this is also wrong. Male affected. No, children, this is unspecified sex. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Going ahead, one of the parents of a cross has a mutation in his mitochondria. This is a very important question. Okay, one of the parents of a cross has a mutation in its mitochondria. In that cross, the parent is taken as a male. Okay, suppose that a male parent is there and he has a mutation in the mitochondria. During segregation of F2 progenies, that mutation is found in. This particular mutation will be found in whom? 1/3 of the progenies, none of the progenies, all of the progenies, 50% of the progenies. So please understand this very important thing, that males do not contribute this any cytoplasmic things. Okay, male just have the nucleus. This nucleus has the DNA. It goes and fuses with the female ovum, which has the cytoplasm and everything. So we say that basically cytoplasmic inheritance, this is known as cytoplasmic. So in cytoplasm you get the mitochondria and everything, right? So cytoplasmic inheritance is done by mothers, children. Is done by mothers. So mother's organelles will be passed down to the gametes. Okay, but it's not the male. The male just takes the nucleus, gives the DNA, that's all. Okay, if talk about the mitochondria which is there for the movement of things, that is not coming and fusing over here. That is not being taken inside the female, ovum and being used there. No, it's not like that. The cytoplasmic inheritance is from the mother's end. Now, since they have mentioned that it's a male, can I expect anyone will be having this particular deformity? No, children. None of the progenies will be having this particular deformity. Okay, so this is a very important question, something that is out of the box. So this is your correct answer. Okay. So over here for correct answers, I am putting a tick like this so that you don't get confused. Works? Now, one more question that we have over here is this. Chalo. Study the pedigree chart given below. Okay, there is a pedigree chart that is given below and you have to tell what is the thing. Inheritance of a condition like phenylketonuria as an autosomal recessive disease. Is this phenylketonuria? Is phenylketonuria an autosomal recessive disease? Yes, it is. Okay, but is it autosomal recessive disease that is being shown over here? You have to tell me. Do you think it's autosomal recessive? If you think it's autosomal recessive, please put down in the comment section right now. Tell me, ma'am, 5th question answer. Basically, it's an autosomal recessive disease only that is being shown over here. Okay, the pedigree chart given is wrong as this is not possible. Inheritance of a recessive sex-linked disease like hemophilia. Is this inheritance of sex-linked disease? Because I see different sexes having different diseases and over here one should be affected, so I don't think that is a thing. Now going ahead, inheritance of sex-linked inborn error of metabolism like phenylketonuria. Phenylketonuria is not a sex-linked inborn problem. Okay, phenylketonuria is an autosomal recessive disease and this is the same thing that is present over here. So over here if you see, this is an autosomal recessive disease, my children, because over here these are the carriers, but still the progeny will be having the disease. Okay, so I hope this is also very much clear. Now we have one question for you that you have to solve. This is the question. Try by yourself and do let me know in the comment section what is the answer. Use your brain properly. Okay, it's very easy, but you have to try. Please tell me in the comment section in the form of homework. Works? Cool. So that's all. If you think that this particular video was useful for you, then do not forget to subscribe to the channel and also do let me know in the comment section if you have any doubts. Bye bye. Take care.